Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, so today we're doing a display test comparison between the HTC One and the Galaxy S4. Now, I've already done a screen comparison between the two, but there was a lot of arguing on, oh, well, this is Pentel Matrix, or it's a form of Pentel Matrix LED, but it is OLED and versus Super LCD 3. So a lot of people seem to think that they know what they're talking about when it comes to these type of screen technologies. I just want to clarify a couple of things, especially because one is really treated as unfairly online because a lot of reviewers either don't know how or don't normally go and show the display mode. I've only seen one reviewer actually show this, so I want to point this out. That on the fly, on screen mode, you can actually change between the dynamic, so it looking overly saturated and more vibrant compared to the LCD, or you can actually make it to more of a neutral than even an LCD can do. Especially since you cannot adjust the screen type on here, whereas you can on here. So first we're going to go through the blacks and the whites on the device, and then we're going to go into a couple of different things. So put these screens side by side, and we're going to turn off the lights so we don't get as much reflection on there. Alright, and as you can see, this is the information we are going with in terms of the display. And so for some reason this one doesn't have the processor on there. I guess this has just been recorded and this one hasn't. But so let's go through the display. So first of all, we're going to go through the banding, contrast, and saturation one here, and then we'll go through a couple of other ones. So let's go through this one right here. And let's first go through the black saturation, because a lot of people do believe that, of course, this is kind of getting an unfair light. Let me move these a little bit over just so we can better off see them. So a lot of people do believe, of course, that that OLED does give a better black. However, the white always usually goes to LCD. So I wanted to point this out. As you can kind of see on here, you can see them for the most part about the same on the top row. Although I'd say the S4 is a little bit stronger on the second row. So on the S4, I can see, I'm hoping the camcorder can see it, I can see all the way to 14. Whereas on here, I kind of stop at 17. Hopefully you guys can make out that. No, see on the camcorder it looks about the same. Actually on the camcorder I can kind of see all the way to 12 and 11 on these. Whereas when I'm seeing with my actual eyes, I can't see past the 14 section. But I just wanted to show the difference that you can do with the screens. So for one, if we were to go to settings and then change this to the movie setting, you can actually see a difference. Now with my eyes I can see further down from here. Again, I'm not sure if that's transitioning over, but I could see a lot darker, a lot of the darker ones all the way up to 9. Not sure again if that's transitioning over on the video. And then if I go to dynamic, this one should have less blacks, I believe. Yeah, I see far less blacks. So on here I can see about to like 21 compared to the HTC. You can see a lot. Better all the way down to, again, on the camcorder I can see all the way to 14, but normally I can see it to about 17 on here, and on here I can only see to about 18, I would say, with the blacks like that. So just one thing I want to point out is, and just because, of course, if you go professional photo, that is, you know, what people expect to see. So actually, if I tilt it down now, I can actually see, now actually looking directly at it, I can see up to 11. I guess I just wasn't looking at it in the right angle. And on here, I can actually see to about 14. That would be the difference for looking directly at it instead of through the camcorder. So that's what I can see right here. And now let's go over the whites. So again, as you can kind of guess, the more you can see, the better the screen. And typically, you know, this is supposed to always win. Again, this is the white saturation. So the better you can make out the squares, the better your screen should be. On this one, I can easily see to 248, and I can barely see 251. On this one, I can see down to 250, and I can barely see 252. Again, I believe that the professional photo will be the best, but let's do the different styles. Again, just an advantage that the Samsung has is that you can switch between these. So now I can see less, it looks like. Yeah, I can see clearly to 247, whereas I can faintly see down to 251. The dynamic would not boast this one better, the professional one would. And let's go to movie just to get the extreme opposite. So on movie I can actually see all the way down to 251 clearly and faintly see 253. So again, kind of just bodes on what type of screen you want to have. And this is just one thing I wanted to point out because, you know, it really shows a difference in terms of displays. I would leave it, if you want the best kind of screen neutral, like true to screen, professional photo on the S4 would most likely be the best one. And now on black saturation, we're kind of seeing for how far we can see down the spectrum. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys so you guys can see how far we can see down the spectrum. I'm going to kind of put it like this so you can see. So actually I feel like I can see one more row on the HTC One on this one. Yeah, I would say I can see one more row of the HTC One when going on the darker color side. And again, we'll try switching it, seeing if we have a different result for the S4. I think this one will give us less colors actually. Yeah, so this gives us less colors. We're now back here instead of 2 rows up. And then if we switch to, again, movie mode, let's kind of see that. Now actually I can see a little bit further. Well, actually no, about the same row. I can see the same row through here. No, actually, let me see them right next to each other. I can see this one 3 lines in. Hopefully you can see that. I can see this one 3 lines in. I can see this one 2 lines in, so I can see a bit more with here on the movie one. And then over here, I can see 4 lines in. And over here I can see 3 lines in. So very close between the saturation on the lighter and darker colors. And saturation test isn't too much of a difference from what I'm seeing. Actually, this one's letting a lot more gray through. Let's try to do it to... Oops. So now I can see that one These are basically on par with each other. They're pretty much, yeah, both you can see about to the same. Fourth row, I would say, or, well, fourth row clearly, and then you can see kind of to the second row, not clearly. Alright, so that was one display test, and now we're going to go to our second one, which we're testing all kinds of things. Oops. Okay, and now we're going to go through the gamma bars to kind of test out in terms of color. Let me zoom out a little bit. So in terms of grays, where the HTC One blends in a little bit is just really between 1.8 and 1.9, and separately I would say 2.0 and 2.1. Everything else is pretty distinguishable. You can see the differences, but these kind of blend into each other. And for the S4, you can make each of those actually out pretty well. So, right there. Now on the colors one, my camcorder can't even pick it up. No, my camcorder cannot pick that up at all, guys. Oh wait, if I tilt it at an angle, it can pick up, but it cannot pick it up directly. So hopefully you can see the squares now right here, all very distinguished. And over here, basically all of these are blending in. I can see 1.2, 1.3, and then 1.8, or no, rather 1.9 and to 2.0 you can't see. So hopefully you can see that if I tilt it. And on here, on the Samsung, they are all distinguishable except for the 2.0 and 2.1. And over here, 2.2 to 2.3 are the same, and then all of the rest are distinguishable. Again, it's kind of an unfair advantage that Samsung has though, because I can change, again, this display and the colors will show differently, but not necessarily better. So now on the Samsung, I can distinguish the entire bottom row very easily. However, for the top row, I distinguish all except for 1.8 and 1.9. So you can kind of change it around depending on what color screen you're looking for. Sorry, my camcorder can't pick it up when it's straight on. Alright, and now for the greens, well, I'll leave it on dynamic for a second and then I'll switch it back if need be. On this one, we can see all the greens very clearly on the bottom row, the HTC One, and on this row, oops. On the top, oops, go back to green, okay. On this row, we can see 1.2 to 1.7, and then 1.8 to 1.9 blends in together. Actually, no, sorry, I was looking at the camcorder, but looking at it straight on, I would actually say 1.8 or 1.7 to 1.9 blends in directly with each other, and as well as 2.0 and 2.1 is very distinguishable. So it's just not transitioning correctly to the camcorder. Again, sorry about that. And then on this one, we can kind of see the bottom is very distinguished up until the 2.2, which is not as distinguished. And then on the top, we have all distinguished except for the 2.1. We'll change this just to see if another one gives us a lot better view for the greens. Although I think dynamic should be better for all colors. Yeah, dynamic's definitely better for colors. Although the top row you can easily, make out with this one. The bottom row is basically almost non-existent. I can't see any of it. I can't see any of the middle, 2.5 to 2.9, basically. I can't see any of it. And now blues. Alright, so with the Samsung, the top row is pretty distinguishable all the way to 2.1. And for the bottom row, I can't make out 2.2 to 2.5. However, if we flip that around back to dynamic, see how it goes. Now the bottom row I can make out entirely, and the top row I can make out with the exception of 1.8 and 1.9. And for the HTC, the bottom row we can make out entirely, no problem. And for the blues, I can't make out, I can make out 1.7 all the way down, and I can make out 1.2 and 1.3, but 1.4 to 1.6 is completely blended in. So, hopefully that gives you a good idea of blacks and whites and colors on these two devices. Again, this is just a display test to kind of see how they compare on the screens, and just to point out one feature that the S4 does have that I feel that a lot of reviewers don't know about, or just don't point it out when they're pointing out like oversaturation on screens, that you can actually make it very neutral if you want. I usually keep it on adaptive display, which goes through all four normally by itself. It didn't work though, to point out, to be fair, on this the display test, so it doesn't catch those apps, but it does catch like YouTube videos, internet browser, and things like that. But for some reason, it did not, to be fair, catch on the display test, so I had to manually do it on theirs. So yeah, guys, that was a display test between the Galaxy S4 and the HTC One. If you have any questions on these, feel free to ask. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.